actually on that occasion, and why I was very quick to grant you leave to go and answer those questions, because they were very, very pertinent to the country. That you lost some of our money to Japan, and some of our money, was it to the US or somewhere? How much money did we lose? And where is it? Ugandans want to know. Oh, and after that, actually, it reminds me on did someone talk about, okay, yes, about our money. Where is our money? I actually thought you came with some of it so that we could appropriate it in the subsequent financial year.
Chair, honorable members of this committee, I think you are all aware that this is a matter that is still under investigation by the police CID, and the Auditor General is also undertaking independent investigations. And my response to you is not and should not in any way interfere with their investigations. I'm only going to repeat the facts which I said that, is factual and they don't interfere with investigation. So beyond that, I will not answer anything.
Procedure, Mr. Chairman. Procedure, Mr. Chairman.
Procedure, Mr. Honorable.
Response of the Deputy Governor, but want to give you assurance, sir. One, that in terms of protocol, we are 17 in the country. So the people you're mentioning are really far below the protocol line. Two, CID specifically is under us and under one of our committees. Then the Auditor General actually is under this specific office. So rest assured that whatever you want to say is really protected, and we have the mandate, constitutional and otherwise, to handle this matter. Two, if you feel that whatever you want to tell us as a wind-up, sir, that is a little bit privileged and so sensitive, you can seek for leave and it is done in camera. Otherwise, you will not just go unscratched without us handling this. And if it is the decision of the committee, I will oblige because the decision, but personally, there's nothing stopping you now. There's nothing sub judice. So don't take advantage of the situation to hide when you fail to handle this matter. Actually, you should have resigned with your team for you to give way of competent investigation. So don't threaten us, sir, by saying that I'm going to stop.
The three,
you are not the one to determine what you want to say before us. It is the chair.
Maokota South.
Yes.
Of the procedural issue I'm raising stem from the legal framework and mandate of this committee. Chair, our rules of procedure empower this committee with the powers of the High Court. And the judicial system in this country has since cleared that there can be both criminal and civil proceedings moving on at the same time. There can't be any prejudice when the same Deputy Governor who was cited, and I've seen clips in the media narrating the events surrounding the theft and loss of this money on camera and before the media, to come and appear before this committee and now start playing a denial game, looking for any escape route of not answering specific questions as summoned by this committee. And the same Deputy Governor had prior requested for more time to attend to this committee. The committee gave him the benefit. He's now before the committee and trying to look for any excuse of not answering. He has the same things you answered before the media related to the loss and theft of this money. answer the same because you have been summoned before this committee.
What is your procedural issue?
Chair, my procedure issue is if it will be procedurally right for the deputy governor to hide under the cover of other investigation, well knowing that he was also invited for an investigation by a committee with the powers of the High Court to answer the same questions, and we have seen some of his answers loitering in the media. Is it procedurally right?
Okay, good. I will guide as follows. One, we have not seen them because we have not summoned the media. And you know what our rules provide on the media. We are now at the source. So please don't rely on the media. Number two, as you were proceeding, you mentioned the word that the deputy governor has been cited. Ma'am, I wanted to hear from you, other than the media, where he has been cited. You know, the use of the word has been cited could have implications, including that he's a suspect or that he has been mentioned in any formal proceedings. Is that what I understood you to mean?
Chair,
On citing.
Chair, unless he denies it himself and will produce evidence, he addressed the media.
That one is
and gave a detailed account of this, how the money was lost, affirming that the money was lost.
That one is okay.
There is even the presumption that the people who stole our money are these people appearing before us. Now, since he has been cited in the media, as a committee, we have the duty to interrogate them. And they owe us answers, not hiding under the cover of other investigations. We are also investigating, and this is paramount.
I asked you a specific question because I had...
it is said that the deputy governor is among those who stole the money.
Who said it?
I've heard it in the media, and he was also trying to explain by distancing himself and mentioning parallel investigation.
Honorable Nkunyenji Muwada, COSASE is a fair committee. We do not rely on rumors. A person at the rank of deputy governor is a dignified person in the protocol of the country. Where we cannot substantiate that he's part of the group that stole the money, I would not allow it on the microphone. So that element should be expunged. Deputy Governor, proceeding well. That is Honorable Muwada's question. I will guide as follows. One, do not be apprehensive. Do not be defensive. Everything you have mentioned is not backed by law. But I know it is supported, partly supported by common sense. And for me, applying common sense in this committee is acceptable, is admissible. This is where you went wrong. Defensively saying, I will not mention things that will jeopardize with investigations. That one I will not. First, you were making a ruling on what you can say or cannot say. It is not within your power. That one is ours. What I expected you is to give us answers to the extent of your ability to answer. Then from there, we ask you questions. You get to me and say, oh, Chairman, I think that one would jeopardize investigations. But you cannot chorus and generally say, I will not answer. Now, that's why you saw it attracted procedure very quickly. So, proceed and answer.
Starting to make my submissions, I said I'm going to state facts that I know of, but anything that relates to investigations, I'll be constrained.
Have you taken my guidance?
Yes, I've taken your guidance.
Proceed and answer.
All right. So, Chair, this money, like I said earlier on, or in that press briefing.
We don't refer to any press briefing or any evidence outside this committee.
All right.
We're only taking this.
Okay. The money involved pertain to a debt service payment, actually 2 debt service payments, one to the World Bank, IDA, and then the other to African Development Fund of the ADB. The World Bank payment was $6.134 million. $6.134 million, which was instead paid to the Roadway Company Limited. Roadway Company Limited through a bank in Japan, MUFG. MUFG. Yeah. And then the payment of $8.596 million that was meant for the African Development Fund was instead paid to MJS International, London. And the date for this payment was 20th of September, 2024. And I forgot to mention the date of 2024. I forgot to mention the date of payment of the Japan. It was on the 12th of September 2024. Now, on the 8th of, I think it was the 8th of October, if I recall well, we got an inquiry from the Minister of Finance that did you make a payment to the World Bank IDA? And we said no. We did not get any instructions to pay World Bank IDA, and we asked them how much was it. They indicated that it was 6.134. Sorry. Excuse me. So, no.
It takes precedence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you tell him yes about.
So, we got that inquiry, and when they mentioned the amount, we just said, look, we paid the same amount, a similar amount to Roadway, but not to the World Bank. Said no, that payment was supposed to go to the World Bank. And then we said, but we got instructions from the minister to pay this.
Wait. So then you got instructions from
the minister to pay $6.134 million.
To Roadway?
Yeah, to Roadway.
Okay. Instruction, Ministry of Finance is an abstract thing. From who?
I think that's from the Office of the Accountant General, if I recall well.
Accountant General?
Yeah.
Who, did the Accountant General himself?
No, he has officers who...
Yeah. So we want to know.
I don't know the names of the officers.
Sure, you've got instructions in writing.
Look, Honorable Chair, I don't work in the banking department.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah,
it's okay.
but I cannot...
It is a matter now of interest. It should have been a matter of interest to you. That when such a thing has happened, you call for the document. Wouldn't you, really? To see who gave instructions.
No, I think, Honorable Chair, that would have been... I mean, I will need to refer to the documents.
Okay.
Yeah, because
That's okay, and I'm only following the story.
Yeah.
So, from Accountant General's office, you will avail us that document. A copy of the document that gave instructions to the bank. In writing, you will send it to the clerk by close of business on Friday. No, you see, don't stampede the deputy governor. I have already guided. He will give it to us on Friday. No, not today. When I said Friday, it's the latest. When I say bye, You can even say, I have it here. Let's do Friday.
So, Chair, and so that's when we checked, and then I did instruct our internal audit department to immediately look at it. First of all, to look at whether the processes in Bank of Uganda had been followed. And what the chief internal auditor then found out was that, look, all the processes on the part of Bank of Uganda had been followed to the dot. And then,
Including not what, knowing what the payment is for?
based on the transaction details,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
because we were given the transaction details for
So Bank of Uganda followed
the transaction details
the transaction
that
details.
were received from
I
the,
think what you write to us will say, we followed our procedure, and this is the procedure we followed, or we follow when we receive such instructions.
yeah,
Proceed, sir.
right. So immediately then, based on those recommendations, we did request for a meeting with the PSST to let the PSST, because we got this information on the 8th of October. 9th was a public holiday, but my staff worked around to ensure that they got this information as quickly as possible. Then on the 9th, we put together this information, and I sent a letter to the PSST that we have an urgent matter to discuss.
We shall have a copy of that letter also, on the same date.
So we then had a meeting with the PSST, and we agreed that, one, this work was done by Chief Internal Auditor of Bank of Uganda.
Chief Internal Auditor.
Yes, Bank of Uganda. Now we need to get an independent forensic audit of this.
So the Chief Internal Auditor gave you a report?
Yeah, she gave a report to me
Yes.
of her findings. I have it.
We shall get a copy on Friday.
Then, based on that,
Are you writing?
based on that, we agreed that we would then have a forensic audit by an independent firm. And Bank of Uganda was asked to contract that firm. And then inform the police criminal investigation directorate about this happening. And then, on the part of Bank of Uganda, we had to begin the process of trying to see if we can recover any of this money as quickly as we could before it is drawn down. So those are the three things that we embarked on immediately. So we informed the CID, we informed, then we began the process of contracting the forensic audit.
Forensic audit.
Right? And then also the process of trying to recover.
To recover.
Yes. So our attempts to contact the bank in Japan were not successful because the bank in Japan said, look, the beneficiaries of this payment have given us information that supports the payment, despite the fact that we told them that this is a fraudulent transaction. But they were of the view that they had gotten.
It's a commercial bank in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were not able to recover much money. And we were unable to recover any money actually from that bank. Then our attempts, now for the one of the
In London.
African Development Bank, it actually, we were informed of it after we made the PSST. I don't recall the date very well when we made the PSST, but it was a Monday after the independence. But I think independence was on a Friday, if I recall. But then we made the PST on Monday. So after that meeting, we went back, and then my staff told me it looks like there's another fraudulent transaction. This time, it was meant to be a payment to the African Development Bank, but it was diverted to a bank in London, in favor of MJS International.
In favor?
Of MJS International.
MJS. N.
M for Mary,
Yes.
J for Jacob, S for sugar.
International.
Yep. So, again, I did ask the internal auditor to look at whether all the processes in Bank of Uganda had been followed to the dot. And the chief internal auditor confirmed that as far as the Bank of Uganda is concerned, we followed the procedure that is established between Bank of Uganda and the Ministry of Finance, including the fact that when these payments come, they are processed on the date they are received immediately, but they are not paid until after 2 days. Why? Because we need to go back to the Ministry of Finance that we have processed this payment in favor of this beneficiary, and these are the account details which we are going to pay this money. The service level agreement provides that if there is no response within the 2 days, we go ahead to make the payments. Given the number of payments we make, they are quite substantial. It's only those payments which are not correct that they flag to us. For these 2 payments, we did not get
Any response?
any response.
Well, it was your communication with Minister of Finance in writing?
Yeah, by email.
By email.
Yeah.
Please share with us those emails on the 2 subjects.
So we then contacted the bank in the UK. They asked for certain documents from us, a police report, and then there was an indemnity, is it called indemnity report?
Okay, it's indemnity.
Yeah, indemnity, which we immediately provided. We contacted the CID, they were very helpful. They gave us that we reported this case to them, and then the indemnity report, we immediately sent it to them.
Is it report or deed? Basically, to indemnify them in the event that they are sued.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And we were able to recover of the $8.596 million. They were able to recover $8.205 million. They first froze it, and then after a few communications here and there, they were able to then to credit back the money to our correspondent bank, and then we got back the money which we credited back to the consulted fund.
How much have we not recovered on this?
391.
That one had already been taken off.
It looks like it was taken over because the bank says, look, this money had been, they cannot get it, so it looks like it was taken.
Okay.
Right. Now the difference between the 8.205 and the 391 are the transaction charges for remitting back the money and wiring it back.
Okay.
So, and that's where it stands at the moment. Now, of course, we have, as a central bank, we were very concerned. There was a lot of negativity in the media that Bank of Uganda had been hacked. Now, Honorable Chair and members of COSASE, for a central bank to be hacked, that is a very, very serious matter.
Yeah.
It's very serious. So it was flying around not only here but also internationally.
Yeah.
And some of our correspondent banks began contacting us because they were saying, how sure are we that we're dealing with it? I mean,
With the right people.
Yeah. So of course, now we also wanted to make sure that our systems were not hacked. So we did a thorough investigation of our systems. There was nothing whatsoever to show that the systems were hacked. And that's why we came out to tell the public that, look, the Bank of Uganda IT systems were never hacked. There's no evidence whatsoever that the systems were hacked. And also to give...
Actually, to say the loss did not arise out of one either hacking or negligence
Exactly.
on our part.
No, that's what we were trying to say. Look, because the story out there was that, some guys from a certain place of this world, they hacked into the Bank of Uganda systems, and took this money in 60 seconds, that kind of thing.
See, especially if you're talking about an issue where your supervisees, a number of banks, and I think it's one of the questions,
Yeah.
have lost money to hacking. So one would imagine that the central bank has also fallen prey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's why we came out
Yes.
to tell a bit more of the story. That look, this did not take place in Bank of Uganda per se. We received instructions and followed the processes.
Good.
We paid. The things were not hacked.
You paid on instruction of your client.
Exactly. And now that is where the matter of the investigation is. That is what the Office of the Auditor General is working on to find out that where did the diversion of this money that was meant for the payment of debt service, where exactly did it take place?
Where did these two companies come from?
Where did these two companies come from? But I think they are very much interested in finding out where did the diversion take place. Because the money was meant for debt service payment. So how come that wrong beneficiaries got this money and Bank of Uganda was given instructions to pay this money? So that's where the investigation is focusing on, and how they did it and who did it. And that is what the report that we are waiting for.
So you have not received any preliminary report from the CID?
Not from the
Not from CID, not from
CID, not from the Auditor General. And we are waiting for that report.
I think it takes time.
Yeah.
We would not have a reason to rush them. It's a big,
Chair,
just before, it's a big, it was a big scheme. That's a lot of money.
Chair,
Before you come in, don't worry. Let's have these documents, as I've said, by Friday. Honorable, was it Honorable Svambi?
no, it was me, Chair. Explanation, but I have just two issues I want clarification. One, he kept referring we, meaning, in my humble opinion, that you were talking about management of the Bank of Uganda under your leadership. Is that correct?
Horrible, I was meaning Bank of Uganda.
So you say we.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this, you don't want to call it a fraud, but this saga or incident happened under your hands and direction.
Under his leadership.
So now the same leadership is conducting the investigations you're talking about before the CID, before all these other organs and the different contacts abroad. Do you have any other authority, whether you are quasi-board or another supervisor from either the Ministry or Finance to handle this matter, either jointly with you or independently? Because I am very uncomfortable seeing you, the tortfeasors, the people in charge of this chaos.
No. Withdraw the word tortfeasors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honorable Chair, I didn't go to a nursery school. I went to a madrasa, so I don't know.
I'm sorry that I went there.
Yes, what kind of word should I use to harmonize the
You see, the word tortfeasors is not even a nursery word. It is a legal term. It means someone who has been confirmed to be culpable. And that's why I expressed this.
And I believe they have a point. They're saying the Auditor General should be the one in charge with the constitutional and legal mandate to handle this matter at that level. And for you insist on appointing a private firm, one without going through procurement or even understanding whether they have the capacity to handle even extraterritorial investigations. So,
Honorable Swabi, why don't you ask them about the process of procuring the firm? First, to confirm as a fact that now for you're talking about a private firm. We want to know if there is a private firm, which one? And
thank you, Chair. He has talked about appointing a private firm. Under which mandate? because you don't just do things helter-skelter. It's a big problem, by the way. The issue, governor has to operate under the law. Have the mandate to do this. Don't just say, Governor Iseu. You know, it has to be really under
the governor has not
so the mandate,
the governor is seated here.
He's actually before us here under a legal mandate. So the Auditor General should be in charge. Don't say anti-corruption unit of Nakarema. Who is Nakarema under the law? We're having a problem. Honorable Chair and members, specifically, what is the harmonization position on investigations of this kind? Where do you go? Don't just say CID, so and so and so. Then you come up with a report sponsored by the state and brought before us. For us, you tell us the mandate.
Honorable Swami, I have understood your questions.
Thank you, sir.
And include the following.
From the narrative by the Deputy Governor,
yes,
I want to give him a benefit that there was a payment made for a different entity that went to a different entity at this level. I want to understand what was the role of the board,
yes,
in clearing these transactions, regardless of how they ended. I want to understand at what level did the board participate, which you probably was hearing. Secondly, in the normal operations,
I think let me join you,
yes,
in asking subsequently, because the board cannot be involved in bank transactions, but subsequently, have you brought this matter to the attention of the board? And what is the role of the board? Honorable Nkunyinji, does that help?
Chair, the two questions can stand.
No. I have sustained one.
But now on my second one,
yes,
I want to understand, because the Bank of Uganda must have a clear day-to-day operational procedure with the key players whenever there is a transaction.
yes.
You have disclosed to us that actually
It was followed.
money was paid to a wrong entity.
Yes.
Our immediate inquiry would be, if the document was reading ADB, at what level, and the bank must know at what level that document changed now to another company, another entity.
Honorable Nkunyinji.
Chair, driving to my question, I want to understand in the chronology of these known payments, because the governor knows that these were payments made for this. Who are the key players, officers of the bank, who are involved? Because these are public officers who are involved in this transaction. And
Honorable Nkunyinji, wouldn't that help us if we got the documents first? We looked at them because they will bring us who did what.
Chair, from his response, we can know the relevant documents.
No, I have already identified the relevant documents and asked him to deliver them here.
And Chair, you know, Chair, why I'm raising some of these, because we have had also a parallel story that this money.
Parallel from where?
Chair, it may be disclosed because they are here.
No.
Because
if you are not disclosing, no.
Chair.
Wait, Honorable Nkunyinji.
Chair, we are told these directors and the staff traveled to Japan to get a share of this money from this bank, and they are saying the money has not been recovered.
Honorable Nkunyinji.
Now, you want to understand whether these directors and staff were in Uganda
before you
by the time this money was withdrawn.
Before we understand that,
yes,
let's understand something first. You see, the fairness of these processes is integral and is cardinal. One, we cannot import stories we've heard from anywhere and put them on the record of Parliament. We can only agree that, we have had this outside this meeting. We identify those sources as potential witnesses. Then when we bring them, they give us evidence. When they give us evidence, we have a duty to call back Bank of Uganda and the affected or mentioned directors to come and explain their role. But we will not say we have had parallel stories. We put it here and we use it in these proceedings. I am very comfortable, because you said you don't want to mention them here in the presence of these people. I'm very happy with that. I'm sure you being a lawyer, I know why. So let us hear later from you those potential sources, even if it means hearing them in camera. And we get them, but we put it back to Bank of Uganda. So I want to suggest that we sustain that question. What has been the role of the board ever since these events? And trust us, Deputy Governor, when we receive this information, we process it consciously and cautiously. Why you see me very strict on the rules, honorable members, is because you're dealing with the central bank. And what we discuss here has an effect on many sectors relating to the economy of this country.
At times, even without just a national ID, they refuse to give you money. Even by a change of just one letter in your names, they will say this is not you. I imagine a central bank claiming that we paid to a wrongful person. I don't understand. Mr. Chairman, can they explain to us the procedures for approval of any payment in the central bank? That's number one. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, if the governor as of today, he still doesn't know the people in the Ministry of Finance who approved, who sent these documents, and he's just saying that I need to refer to the document first. It came from the Auditor General's office. Oh, this is an issue that every Ugandan is trying to discuss. How can someone run away with over 60 billion? Because that is according to what is in the gallery, 60 billion. Now, for the governor to come here up to date, an issue that happened in September, and he's saying he doesn't know the person who cleared this, who sent the documents, it's very unfortunate. Thirdly, Mr. Chairman, if they say the banker in Japan claim that the documents they have are genuine and legal in nature, have they shared with you those documents? Mr. Chairman, in addition to the documents you've requested, we need those documents.
I think first you need to know whether they have shared with them, so that you do not make an order in vain. You tell me bring this document when I actually do not have it. And especially when you are talking about somebody who is not cooperating. Did they give you any document? In one word, yes or no? No, you put it on the microphone.
No. Chair, objection. A bank cannot communicate and communicate it to you. Give the committee any document they use to communicate to you with the details.
I think that's a good one, but you do not begin with an objection to the chair.
Chair, the governor is very tricky.
No. And please, receive the witness.
Safety measures have been put in place, especially on the instruction from the Minister of Finance on clearing some of these transactions. I'm interested in that.
Interested in?
The safety measures he has put in place since this incident. The rest one, Chair, you had asked a very simple question about how much money have we lost and how much have we recovered. So
he answered it. What they did not recover from London is $391,000 US, plus some ancillary expenses, charges, bank charges for transferring etc. Yes?
That's all,
Are you
Chair.
done? Deputy Chair?
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Deputy Governor, in your submission, you said that you did a thorough check of your systems in the central bank. Do you have a report on this investigation or the thorough check of your systems? Do you have a report on this from your IT department? And secondly, what's the name of the commercial bank in Japan? You mentioned it?
Yes.
Okay?
You mentioned the bank in Japan, MJS International.
No, that is London.
Sorry, MUG, yes, MUG. Yes.
Okay, and lastly, you are getting the information about the faults in the central bank from external sources, not within the management of Bank of Uganda, because everything you say, we are not, we are told. So don't you think that as the Deputy Governor, you are not in control of the central bank, or you are not in position to know what is taking place in the institution? That's our Bank of Uganda, because everything you are getting the information of all these faults from the external sources, not within the management of the central bank. Don't you think that there is a problem within the management of the central bank, of the Bank of Uganda, by yourself? Thank you, Chair.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman.
Additional, when we are here.
I'm coming to you, Honorable Kasoro. Yeah, you'll come in.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Martin.
the process of procuring a firm to do the forensic audit is still on. My worry is, one, by the time the procurement process takes place, the money will be finished. This is just a simple matter, Mr. Chairman.
Which money will be finished?
The people will have shared it.
Actually, the auditor is not auditing to recover the money. He's auditing to find where the money went.
But, Mr. Chairman, for me to understand who approved it, who did what, I don't need to do a forensic audit.
But Honorable Muzali, you know, I don't know where you are taking the
Mr. Chairman, we're adding cost to another
the
post.
horse and the cart, which comes first? We have asked for the documents. I have told you that one is going to be resolved in this meeting.
Okay,
Why are
Mr.
you
Chairman.
jumping the gun? It will shoot you. Switch off the microphone. Before I go to the full honorable Kasolo, I'll start with the honorable Solo, the older one. Who is a Salongo?
The older Solo is Kasolo, a younger one.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. I've heard the deputy explaining. We got instructions. As we are waiting for documents, Chair, I think it would have been better if we know where the instructions came from. Lastly,
We know.
we have a problem of not having a full governor. Don't you think it's one of the things that are affecting the operations of the central bank?
Yes, whereas we traversed that one, the question of governor, we did not get an answer or ask on the impact of the absence of the governor. I know COSASE has an answer to that, but I want him to answer it because you never know. It could have changed.
The money was for debt servicing, and it was specifically to World Bank and the ADB. Now, I'm aware that the World Bank, they coordinate with the Ministry of Finance. They have their coordinators within the country, and even African Development Bank. They have the office here. And he also said this money was not, this fraud was not done using AI or hacking. It was properly arranged properly. In your submission, you've not, as efforts to recover the money, you have not put in the body responsible for money internationally, that's the FI. That is the body responsible. I'm seeing the CID, I'm seeing so and so, but internationally, I see it on an international body that is looking at AI and many issues to do in the world. And I've just been in a meeting in Argentina over what happened to Uganda here, and it's top on the agenda.
Yes.
Now, why is the FI in this, where I don't see it, Mr. Chair? They have not brought...
Why is what?
FIA. Why is it? Because it's the one responsible.
Why is it what?
It's not involved. They have not brought it on board. And I know there are the people who can arrest this situation because they have contacts everywhere in the world. They listen to them. The governor knows that because what I know, you are in money, but me, I'm on the other side. Now, that is what can recover the money. I know London, the money can be easily.
Honorable Kasolo is not a witness. Don't ask him questions.
I know money can be recovered in the UK, but
Yes.
Japan, because of its structure, which I do, you know it very well, which I cannot disclose, it will not be easy.
Honorable Kasolo, you are ruled out of order. You are becoming a witness. So, Deputy Governor, one, do these two companies exist anyway in real life? Because they are ghosts. And you know ghosts by their nature cannot be found, cannot be seen. Were these companies born and do they exist in the first place? Please answer those questions and then we shall guide on how we proceed.
Chair, and I thank members for the questions that you've asked. So I'm going to begin with the first one regarding who's conducting the investigations. It is the Office of the Auditor General who's conducting the investigations, and that's why I told you initially that I felt uncomfortable talking when those investigations were still going on. But it is the Office of the Auditor General conducting these investigations, and we are waiting for that report to come out. And then the audit firm that we contracted, the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Uganda, is a local audit firm here, right, called PwC. And they did their work for our own purposes. But ultimately, it is the report of the Auditor General that we are waiting for. And then the role of the board, you see, this is an operational matter. So it's management that has got to ensure, or that's responsible for these operations. But when this incident happened, we did brief the board on what happened and what we were doing about it. And I recall in their oversight role, they gave us some guidance as well. So that's the role of the board in this. And we have kept briefing the board on the development that are taking place. And then we have engaged Financial Intelligence Authority. When this incident happened, we wrote to them. When we recovered the money, we wrote to them as well. And I've been in touch with the ED of the Financial Intelligence Authority through telephone, finding out how far they have gone in trying to recover this money. You're right that FIA is well placed, particularly where where we cannot compel a bank outside our jurisdiction to act the way we want. Under the Anti-Money Laundering and Combating of Financing of Terrorism, FIA is most competent because these are proceeds of crime. Fraudulent transactions fall under that. So that's why Financial Intelligence Authority is involved. But we are in touch with them and they're aware of it. And then BoU relying on external sources. Look.
No, I think there is a question which was asked by both Honorable Kasolo and Martin Muzale relating to remedies under international commercial law.
Yeah, that's why Honorable Chair was saying that as Bank of Uganda to compel another member, a country in a different jurisdiction to act on our request is very difficult. That's why we have engaged the Financial Intelligence Authority. over this. In the case of UK, we did conduct the financial...
Before that, I think you need to get the question. You see, equally FIA can only investigate. Of course, they also have an, as Bank of Uganda, who lost your money, or as a country. And we know that this bank in Japan is acting illegally because whether locally or internationally, once you receive an alert that that money was wired fraudulently, the first thing you do is to freeze. The question from these two members and now from me, have you taken any step?
Chair, yes, we did take a step. We told them that these proceeds are fraudulent proceeds. But then they claimed to us that these guys have provided us sufficient evidence to the fact that they had delivered a service to the government of Uganda. They are claimed to have produced the documents supporting that. So the bank argues that based on that, they had no...
That one I know.
Yeah.
I am talking, Mr. COSASE, you understand what I'm asking. You see, if you have acted illegally, you have retained and actually passed on my money to a fraudulent person despite my alert. Do I have recourse under international law as Bank of Uganda or as Uganda? Have you explored that?
Okay, Chair, let me give you the case of England. We did contact the Financial Supervisory Authority when this matter was happening, that this bank in the UK, right, has received proceeds which are, fraudulently, right? So we want you to prevail on them. Then because a lot has been going on, but I want to believe that we contacted also the supervisory authority in Japan.
You intend to sue them? Now let me speak it the Chiganda way. Margaret, get the microphone. You're my witness now. What is the role of your department as head legal?
Thank you, Chair. When something like that happens, you first explore the administrative options, yes, the administrative avenues, which are now being explored. It's only when you see that they have completely failed that you now resort to litigation. We haven't yet gotten there. Thank you.
Chair, it is Honorable Mwada. Yes. Chair, the most obvious administrator, are there any staff of Bank of Uganda who have been suspended to pave way for investigation?
That one is not the most obvious.
I was citing one. Secondly, Chair, I've been looking at the Bank of Uganda Act, specifically Section 4. Section 4, paragraph I, that the Bank of Uganda shall be the clearing house for checks and other financial instruments or transactions. Now, we are in a dilemma. The Bank of Uganda, that will be the clearing house for every transaction, in a fraudulent way, paid our money to non-existing recipients.
That is not true. It is not a finding of fact.
Chair.
You see, we have not come to a finding that Bank of Uganda acted fraudulently. Number two, we have not found as fact that actually these are non-existing companies. That's what he's about to answer.
I take your advice, Chair.
No, it's not advice. It's not advice. It's now a ruling.
The operation. Now, the question that you're asking is how exactly do these transactions, how are they executed? So in initiating a payment, the Minister of Finance creates a payment file containing the details of who is going to receive this money, who is the payer, the amount, and the bank information. Now, once that has been done, the Bank of Uganda will receive an encrypted file. An encrypted file is a secure file that can only be opened by specific key holders in Bank of Uganda. They decrypt it and process it automatically through the Bank of Uganda banking system, what they call the BBS. Now, that file generates payment information that from what they've decrypted, the information of the payer, the payee, the account details and everything, it decrypts them into an Excel file. Now, that Excel file is then sent back to finance. It is a straight-through process. There's no manual interference. It just comes through, decrypted by the BPS, and then it generates an Excel file, which is sent back to the Minister of Finance almost instantly. Now, the purpose for sending it back to the Minister of Finance is for them to verify the information that has been sent to Bank of Uganda regarding the payer, the payee, the bank information, and all those contact address. And given the service level agreement that we have with the Minister of Finance, that you need to cross-check this file and make sure that the information contained there is correct. And for external payments, they take 2 days. Once the payment structure, the payment is processed, it's not paid immediately. It takes 2 days waiting for any confirmation from the Minister of Finance whether we have the right details. So then, once there is no issue from the Minister of Finance, on day 2, we pay. The system automatically pays on day 2. And that's how the international transactions are conducted. And then beyond that, there's also what we call the confirmation and the reconciliation. After we've done the payments, we generate all the payments that have been made, all right? And then this is sent back to the Minister of Finance, that these are the payments that we've made on this day for your purposes and for your reconciliation. So Minister of Finance receives things on a daily basis, daily statements for purposes of reconciliation. So that's how the process works. It is all automated in what they call straight-through processing. There's no human involvement in there.
No. The process, as explained, is true because I don't know.
Okay.
What is not correct is that there is no human intervention. There must be human intervention at the end of the day. Because you see, let me tell you, you will never explain and convince me that I should arrest the computer in Bank of Uganda. If I am to arrest, I will arrest you. You lead me to the right person. He leads me to the right person until I get the person who actually does the verification. The computer doesn't do the verifications. And my understanding is that in a transaction, especially of this magnitude, I studied banking, not as banking, but at least the law and practice, as written by Professor Tumwine Mkubwa. I'm sure even if you had left, it is a book that you read, or you read on a daily. There must be that particular person who opens his computer and says, oh, how about this? You cannot leave it to the computer. Then when you send the other side for verification, there is another person who sits behind his or her computer and does the verification. When I was growing up, I hear at some point people's salaries were delayed, and then they said it is because of Forex. So somebody ordered for the arrest of Forex. Now for me, I have since learned from that gentleman that beyond Forex there is a human being. That's why from Bank of Uganda, I want to interact with that human being who I have now been told is Mr. Jacob Opolot and his entire team tomorrow here at 10 o'clock. I am amending my earlier guidance on bringing the documents on Friday. Tomorrow, as you come with Mr. Opolot and his entire team, please come with the documents.
Chair.
Yes?
Chair, in addition to the documents you are requesting, I agree with you that disclose all the staff. I would request that among the documents you request as a committee, let's get a full record of all the staff of Bank of Uganda and their roles. Because it appears the Deputy Governor thinks that it is computer work and robots, yet we pay huge money in terms of salaries. Maybe they are not even working and reporting. So let's get the full list of the staff of Bank of Uganda, their roles, and their roles, the names and their roles, so that as he answers, we also cross-check whether this category actually exists, and possibly even their performance record. Maybe they are no longer there, they only earn salary. But I also...
No, honorable members. Yes, Honorable Muzale.
Mr. Chairman, bring the computer that did the input, that did the verification, so we shall arrest that one.
Actually, no, I will issue a warrant of arrest against the computer, but only when I've failed from the front of the human faces.
If is missing out, so they can also bring it.
Budget
document from page 81, it's not there, to 84.
Okay.
And that's the budget, you can come with it.
By the way, where is the document that, mine is here. Governor, is this document the same as the one you're holding?
That. What do you mean? Because when you receive an encrypted file, there is someone who opens it.
Yes,
meaning there is already human interaction. What do you mean?
Yeah. In terms of generating the payments, it decrypts, and then the Bank of Uganda banking system. Then the Bank of Uganda payment system generates the payments. But certainly to decrypt, someone has got the keys for decrypting. But in terms of generating the payments from the encrypted file, I'm not aware of any human interaction.
Yeah, Chair, I think, Chair.
Yes, Yusuf?
Yeah, thank you. Chair, this is, I think, for Mrs. Kavwa, sorry, Miss Kavwa.